4, 3, 2, 1. Okay. We'll call this meeting to order at 7:02. If we could please stand and salute the flag that's right behind me. Fletcher, would you like to lead us?
I'd love to. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay. So we're going to skip the reading of our mission statement today and move on to a moment of silence. And I'd ask the audience if there's anyone that we need to have a moment of silence for, or just in general. I will state one person, Mr. Walt Campbell, who passed away, resident of Hidden Valley Lake, principal of Coyote High School, rancher, hunter, Coyote Valley, what did I say? Elementary. It was Coyote Valley Elementary, right? Yeah. Anyway, a huge member in our community. I know he worked out at Six Sigma too for a bit. So with that, anybody else have someone that we want to have a few thoughts for their family? Okay. Then seeing none, we'll have a moment of silence for the good of all and for Mr. Walt Campbell and his family. Thank you. So, and moving on to the agenda. Yeah, we don't have it. So that's why I was passing.
Can you bring the microphone a little closer?
Yes.
The agenda format changed, so it just needs, it used to be in the agenda, so I'll find it.
Is that in part?
So as soon as we have that, we'll read that. But in the meantime, we'll move forward with the approval of the agenda, and there's just one little mistake that I know that I am responsible for is under item number 5, speaker, I put Springs Community Redevelopment, Siegler Springs Community Redevelopment is how it should read. And with that, I will entertain a motion to accept the agenda. Thank you.
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, so moved. Okay, now we will move on to public input. And just as a reminder, public input is limited to 3 minutes, and in general is usually pertains to items, activities, events that are happening, announcements that you would like to share with the community. There is no back and forth during public input, and so with that, if anybody has public input, please come on up to the mic. Thank you.
You want to go
Yes.
first? Go ahead.
We're having, do me a favor, put Lisa's microphone in between the two of you, if you could.
Is this one?
There you go, perfect. There you go. I'll pick you up now. We're good.
Good evening, Math. Margot Kambara. Your neighbors need your help. On March 25th, there is an appeal before the Lake County Board of Supervisors. What's being appealed is a cannabis permit. One of the major issues has to do with water usage, pesticide usage, road safety, etc. So your presence at the hearing, either online or at the courthouse, 10 a.m., Tuesday, March 25th. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Linda Deal Darms, and I am giving you guys a little update on stop sign. We started the stop signs in Middletown project in 2021, and since then I've been trying to get that going. So most recently I wrote a letter, and I did forward it to M.A.T.H just tonight. I'm sorry I didn't do it sooner. So I volunteered to do the maps in October 2021, gave them to M.A.C. They were submitted to M.A.C on the 19th of 2021. On October 27th, Carol Hutchinson, County Administrator, sent it to Scott De Leon, who was the Director of Public Works at that time. And since the submission of the stop sign request in 2021, there have been the COVID and all that kind of screwed things up there. And I kept requesting, asking M.A.C, what's the status, and he kept telling me, Scott keeps telling me he's not ready yet. So I finally got permission in January of 2024 to talk to Scott De Leon myself. I was never able to talk to him personally. I kept getting staff, and I finally got to talk to an engineer. The engineer came down here in November of 2021, and since nothing happened, he had archived his report. So his report does show that there's stop signs and where he thinks they should be. And so I just sent this in August, I sent it to the new Public Works guy, and that has not given us anything that's happening yet. So I let them know my frustration. I asked that the county please direct Glenn to go ahead. I asked about the cannabis funds that were earmarked for our stop sign project, because that's how it all started. M.A.C said he had cannabis funds that he would use for our stop signs. So my guess is those funds are gone, and I asked to know where they are now. And at the end of this, I said, please note, the stop sign project in Middletown has already been engineered and a study done. It would be redundant and a waste of county funds to have the study redone. And I sent them the study. So it's just kind of an update for everybody, and I haven't heard anything back yet, but at least you know I'm still working on the stop signs.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Terry Ibarra, and I just wanted to go over a few events that we have coming up, community events from MAMA. So MAMA is the Middletown Merchants Association. Dan, correct me if I'm wrong, it's the 18th, correct? The next mixer?
Pulling up my calendar.
I think it's the 18th at 6 p.m.
25th.
Oh, just kidding. 25th, 6 p.m. It's on a Tuesday. And that one is at Twin Pine Casino. Okay, so that one is at 6 p.m. And then we've got upcoming on April 11th, we have Career Day at the high school. That's an opportunity for the kids to all see different local jobs that are available to them in, the area, and even a little further. We reach out to places from Sacramento and San Francisco, and we just get a lot of different vocations for them to ask questions and figure out what routes to take to get there. I am currently also working on the spring dinner, which is the MAMA annual event. The spring dinner will be on April 15th. And that'll be at Boston's up on Cobb, and that'll be at 5:30. Other than that, update on the drone show that I am currently trying to get for a 4th of July celebration. Went out to Six Sigma as a possibility today and chatted with them about the logistics. I'm going to reach out to the county to make sure that all of that is approved. And then hopefully we can get this ball rolling. If we cannot, then I'll look at it for a future date. But they used to do air shows there, so I thought, good spot for it. That's kind of all of the things that I have currently on my plate. All right, thanks.
Thank you. Okay, what? Okay.
Okay, I
Carlos?
just want to read this. This is a petition to retain Middletown Proper's 2 seats on the math board.
Name,
And-
please.
I'm sorry?
Name, please.
Oh, Carlos Bono.
Thank you.
And for the immediate resignation of Chair Monica Rosenthal. We, the undersigned, there's 54 signatures on this petition.
Okay, I'm going to have to stop you because both of those items are on the agenda later.
Oh, they
So
are?
this is a time for,
Monica,
this
last
is
time
a time
you cut us
for
off last time.
no
We
public.
can say whatever we want.
Wait.
No.
No,
This-
you can't.
Will we be able to read the full text of this petition?
That you'll have 2 minutes under
no,
the
no,
topic
No,
item.
No. We
It
wanna be
is
able to
on
read
the
full
agenda.
text of this
So
petition.
thank you. Will you sit down, please?
No, no.
Okay?
I will read it.
Then we will be calling this meeting, please. We'll be
Violation of
breaking for
nomination
5
procedures,
minutes.
misrepresentation of election
Recess.
procedures, overstepping her.
Thank you. Okay, so we are going to resume. Let's see, we have Linda Dildarms, maybe?
I just wanted to let you know, Lisa, I did receive your agenda via email.
No, I know
Okay.
people received it. by email.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
I just wanted to make sure you didn't think you messed up.
Lisa, I did not.
Okay, so
And I
we,
didn't either. I did.
Okay,
so we will address the agenda situation and correct any mailings that need to be corrected for next month. Thank you all for your patience with us on that matter. We're pulling out of our little recess for a moment, and we have somebody, another public, you have a public comment?
Yes, please.
Okay,
Can you hear me all right?
yes.
I just have a question for the chair.
Name, please.
When shall I?
Name, please.
Name?
Name, please.
My name is Jose Menace. No, Fletcher Thornton. I have a question regarding what just happened. When should we discuss that, in the chair's opinion?
We will discuss that further down the agenda on agenda item number 6,
Okay,
under the chair report.
okay, thank you.
Thank you. So, seeing no other, okay, Lisa Kaplan has public comment?
Calpine and M.A.C are doing an Earth Day on April 26th from 1 to 6 p.m. at Calpine Visitor Center. And vendors can have a booth for free, info can have a booth for free. Maybe you guys want to do something? We'd love to have you. And Blues Farm is coming at 4 p.m. also. So come and join us. Vendor applications, everything is free. Just come. Thanks.
Monica,
Okay,
also on the same date, the Lions Club is having a craft fair too, which is just a short walk down.
That's right. That's right.
perfect.
That's right.
Thank you. Wait, excuse me, there's no back and forth. So we do need to
10
use the
a.m.
mics. So with that, I'm going to turn this back over to Lisa Kaplan to read the mission statement that we skipped over at the beginning.
Okay, the math mission statement. The Middletown Area Town Hall was formed to operate as a true town hall, with everyone participating and voting. However, county officials required us to elect a board to conform with other county advisory committees. Our bylaws specify that the board makes decisions based on a vote of everyone present. The board encourages all members to give their opinions and vote on every matter before the assembly. Ta-da.
Thank you. And then also backtracking on the agenda just briefly, because I did skip over the approval of the meeting minutes. Those should have been received with the email with the agenda. We have a motion to accept those minutes
Second.
and a second by Bill Waite. First was by Mr. Fletcher Thornton. Any discussion on those minutes? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? So moved. Okay, so then we'll move on to item number 5 on the agenda, which is our speaker for this evening. If you recall, and as is stated in our minutes from last month, is we were informed at our last meeting of a presentation that has been done around the county at a couple of other locations, and encouraged to invite Elliot and Magdalena here to join us and share their presentation with us. So without further ado, I will invite them up to the microphone. Are you more comfortable sitting here or standing? Okay. Then we'll give you this mic. And welcome, and thank you so much for joining us this evening. Please do share a little bit of information about yourself and why you're here.
Sure. Well, thank you very much for inviting us to address the Middletown area town hall, the oldest, municipal advisory town hall in the county, and inspiration behind the formation of the Cobb Area Council, where we come from. The presentation that Monica was referring to is a presentation that we did about a project that we did several years ago on Cobb, which was the development of what we called the Cobb Mountain Regeneration After Catastrophic Wildfire, a Community Resilience and Development Strategy. And we were fortunate to be able to get a significant grant to produce this. Particularly in the aftermath of the fires, there was a good bit of goodwill out there, and we were able to get a grant from the Federal Home Loan Bank of San Francisco to produce this. So that's one of the things that actually made it possible. The other thing that made it possible is that we had been working quite, really nonstop, since the Valley Fire, kind of helping our community to come together in its redevelopment work. Just, I hope I can zip through this really quickly. Our background is that we had first moved up to Lake County in 1981, lived here for 10 years, and then dropped back in, so to speak, after that point. And I had a long career in government, with the federal government. I worked in San Francisco. I worked for counties, basically doing strategic planning for these, particularly around development, strategic development planning. Want to say a little bit about your...
So in terms of working with the Valley Fire, I do have nonprofit administration. I've worked in Washington, D.C. on disaster planning. And when we came back to Lake County and the Valley Fire happened, we lost our home, and friends of ours said, "Is there anything you can do to help?" And interestingly enough, just to jump forward a bit, when the U.S. Forest Service came around to do studies about how disaster survivors were working out, what they found was that here in Cobb, we were focusing on not burning again, while all the other fire survivors were focusing on rebuilding. We wanted to get at the root. And to us, that means you have to get involved with the planning process. And we found out that the area plans and the general plan were due for an update. So we were positioned, really, we thought, to be ready on day 3, year 3 on a disaster on day 1. And that's how that started.
I'll also say that Magdalena, along with Jessica Paiska and a few other go-getters up on the mountain, were instrumental in forming the Cobb Area Council. And if you look at the establishing resolution back in 2016, one of the primary objectives that we had was to update our area plan. Because ours had not been updated, since 1987. So we had, it was several lifetimes ago, so we knew that was a critical thing to happen. And so we really have been focused on this area plan process really for 8 years now, since we got this going. So we've been thinking about it, how are we going to approach it, so there's having conversations about it, so there's a good kind of pool of shared knowledge and strategizing within our community about that. So again, when Maria Turner came on as the new community development director, the 5th one in 9 years, as you may recognize those first few years, and really a sea change as far as we're concerned for somebody who's familiar with and concerned about and really smart, willing to dig in. And one of the key changes that she made in this was that recognizing that Lake County is, I don't know if we're unique, but I did some research, and we're very, very rare in that not only do we have a general plan, as all counties and cities are required to have, but we also have the entire unincorporated area divided into area plans. Most other counties have like a special plan here or there, but we had.
So that gives the community an immediate chance to get involved and say what you want to have happen here. And we wanted to keep our hamlets.
Right. So one of the things that kind of coming out of our 25 years of kind of career before we retired up here was really understanding that communities are what, you know, sometimes in ecology and biology they call complex adaptive systems. It's a lot of syllables to say it's very complex. And there are all these different forces that are affecting each other. And you have to look at it as a whole system. You can't just look at economic development. You can't just look at, you know, the ecology. You can't just look at kind of the social system. You have to look at all of it. And so we were able to, when we got the grant to do this, find or as part of something we were aware of, this a framework called the 7 community capitals. And that's what we use to develop our strategy. And it's basically 7 different areas. It's not, you could probably slice it up into 9 or 5 or things like that. But this is pretty comprehensive. Listen to this and think about how much of the community this actually defines. You've got your financial capital, you've got the economy, you've got your natural capital, the environment, you've got your culture. You've also got, in addition to the culture, you've got your social system. How do people interact? How do people meet each other? How do they actually interact? You've got the built capital. You've got your buildings, your roads, your water systems. You've got human capital. What the people themselves, their education level, their health, and you've got political capital. How much pull? How much kind of influence or relationships do you have with the other forces? So these 7 capitals, looking at how they interact with each other, really are a good way to really try and get a comprehensive view of the community.
They define basically your assets.
Right.
So your assets are not just the money that you have, but all the people, all the relationships. How does that all work together? Because those interrelationships is where the magic happens.
Right.
And as a result, we were able to identify data gaps. We were able to set priorities based on the community's input. We have 11 major strategies that we identified together. And out of those, 3 were related to fire, 4 were related to the economy in general. And that means we have been either accomplished or been progressing on 7 out of the 11 that we set for ourselves.
And just to talk, again, circling this back around to the area plan, which you asked us kind of to address, is that there's actually an interesting crosswalk between these 7 capitals and the what's called in the general plan, they're called the plan elements. And every general plan is required by state law to have certain elements in it. And we can look at how each of these capitals crosswalks to each of the elements. The other innovative thing that Maria Turner did was that she said, we're actually going to build our general plan inductively. We're going to start at the pieces. We're going to start with the area plans and then build that into the county general plan, which I thought was very smart. And she basically said, of those elements, there are 4 of them that are key, that are literally going to be defined at the area plan level. So the Cobb Mountain area plan, the Middletown area plan, is going to be the place where these are defined, and that's land use, circulation, open space, and economic development. I don't think you can get more fundamental than those in terms of the direction and how the community is going to be going. The other ones that are key for the community, that are going to be basically written for the county as a whole, are housing and the health and safety element, which is where they address specifically the issues of wildfire. So, we've been very, we noticed that you have to understand how powerful these plans are. These really, as they've been called the constitution of the county. They set the road, the rules of the road. They define what's possible, and you can write into there, if you can decide, well, where do we want to go? What do we want to be? You can put policies in those plans that will be your justification in the years that come for making your own proposals and decisions. Say, well, wait, it says right here in our area plan. This is what we said we wanted to do. And so we see this as a very powerful a tool for a community to take ownership of your own destiny. One final thing before it takes some questions is that one of we do, as I said, we spent 25 years away from Lake County before we moved back in 2015, literally months before the Valley Fire, wiped us and our neighborhood out. And during that time, we spent a lot of time looking at, well, how do people solve these complex social and economic issues? And there are a couple things that we kind of hold as core principles. One is something that one of our schools called deep democracy. And what deep democracy is about recognizing that you need to have every single voice at the table. And you need to listen to every voice. And sometimes it's difficult because what happens if people feel shut out, don't feel heard, however long it takes to let people at least feel that they've actually had their voice heard and put in the center, and you get explosions, you get reaction, and you get basically bomb throwers. And this is something that we've kind of worked, quite consciously at, and hold is very significant. So that's the other thing is that there are. I think I'll stop there. Questions? Yeah, Lisa.
So, first of all, I want to thank you for coming.
Sure.
And for sharing. I wanted to ask, your structure is beautiful, but it requires somebody to do it.
Right.
So the grant that you got helped you guys do it.
Right.
I imagine that it paid for salaries for a few people to go, like, how much money do we have to shoot for in order to do this? And having done this yourselves, I would imagine that it's way better if it's somebody from your community as opposed to somebody from outside. So can you just give us a ballpark as to what we might be looking at?
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you, the grant was significant. We got a $200,000 grant. Mm-hmm. However, we spent about $70,000 of that on data. Now, at this point, I recognize that we probably paid a little too much for it. We could have done, and it was a lot of additional work. We spent about, we also peeled off.
Yeah, I was going to say.
We also peeled off $50,000 and put it immediately into a small business development fund, which actually some people in Middletown were able to take advantage of, a low interest loan fund. We also then took another $25,000 of that and spent it to put together a marketing website for Cobb. So
we built things in. And not just to do the strategy, but we built things in to kind of
kickstart it, get it moving. Mm-hmm. To actually do the strategy itself was about SSCRA, our company, basically charged $25,000 for the 2 years of work that we did.
So it's more than that.
Yeah, and we also have. I mean, I'm still kind of. I love the design, which was done, basically for slave labor wages by a very talented local artist. So that's another part of it. Yes, sir.
It's all good and well, but what is your plan? Okay, let's turn the clock back. It's 2015. The fire's coming down the hill.
Yeah.
What are you going to do differently? I mean, who are you going to communicate with? Who are going to be your community leaders? What's going to be your central points? Give us some idea of what that is, because this is just data. I spent 31 years in the Army, and I know that you could have a plan, but when you invade Iraq, you're going to have to Indiana Jones that shit.
That's right.
So
Yeah, the map's not the territory, right?
Yeah. So that to me is extremely important. You know,
Right.
who are the key real leaders? You know, who are the church leaders?
Right.
Where are the churches? Where's the parking lots? Where's the places? Give us that kind of stuff, because
Yeah.
this doesn't mean anything to average Joe like
Well,
me.
you have, that's part of the, we spent, part of the 2 years was, we did interviews with
Was
folk-
identifying who these people
who
are.
they were, and actually doing in-depth, long form interviews. We did two-hour interviews with about over 30 people.
Yeah, this wasn't just surveys. This was sitting down with
Okay,
people.
give us some names. I mean, you got names. I don't know.
some of the
Christian
rest-
Fellowship Church, the Catholic Church.
Yeah.
Where are they going to go? What are they going to do right now? Boom! The fire just started.
Well, I say the main thing that we did, we realized, as we said, that we did not want to burn again. That was kind of the first.
I don't want lives to be lost because we just did data. Okay, I want people to live.
Okay,
and I want
well-
them to know where to go.
Okay,
So I
but you
want
still
to
have
tell me
to, you're talking about evacuation.
that. I'm talking about people living.
That is part of the whole plan for wildfire resilience. What I found out, because I was going to be the dumb one, right? My house burned. And I thought to myself, now hang on. A fire like that big, does not happen without something not having been taken care of over a long period of time.
Yeah.
So I started in the middle of not having a home. I started asking the dumb questions. What was supposed to be happening in the county? Well, that made me start thinking, well, what about fire? We had to look online. I'm like, fire. Oh my God, I don't understand fire protection districts. I don't understand fire safe councils. I don't understand fire-wise communities. And it took me 3 years to figure that out before we could even do this survey, this
We
kind
were
of
more
stuff.
ready in the 1970s than we were.
You probably were, but people
because-
have to come up to the same speed. So to be able even to figure out what the roles were of all of these different organizations, and all of us going crazy trying to get our areas cleaned up, and county and FEMA and all of that. So yeah, we had to spend the time really honing in on that person. Looks like they talk good, but what do they really do? So that's what we had to go and look for. I know, that's what we spent a lot of time just interviewing people.
And I'll say that over this period of times, in the last 9 years, we have been able, through building relationships, to bring, frankly, over $1 million of outside funding on the ground.
So let me do this. We established a forest stewardship working group. We have several landowners on there. We had we had to produce a Blackberry Cobbler Festival because everyone was looking for how can we come together as a community.
That's fine. Okay.
All right, that's now been 3 or 4 times, and we thought we were lucky when we had a few hundred. Now we're at 1,000. We're looking at Kelseyville. They only thought they had 1,000, and now they're at 10,000 people coming in. So we're willing to work small, start
So are you
small.
organizing any kind of controlled burns or anything out there?
Yes.
Okay.
There's a PBA active, and it's also helping the rest of Lake County. And I was very instrumental in getting the county to update its darn community wildfire protection plan. It turns out that it was sitting on a shelf somewhere, and the people who were supposed to keep it going didn't even know they had the contract with the county.
All right. Well,
So we're moving. We've been moving things along.
We saw that here. We had somebody come in here. We had somebody come here just after the fire in Cobb, and he says, you have until 12 o'clock tonight and you to sign up for a $3 million contract to clean up on Cobb. There was no way anybody in that room was going to clean up was going to submit a contract to go clean up Cobb at 12 midnight. So, I mean, to me, I think it's great what you're doing, but and of course there's community, but the most important thing to me is lives, not data. And we lost 6 people because we had our heads in our ass, and we can do better.
Sir, I'm very involved personally. I have been very involved from the get-go in everything having to do with fire here. I have talked to all of the chiefs, and we have been working with the county OES. We've been working with NCO to get evacuation kits distributed. We're now working with NCO to get seniors to learn why they should even have evacuation kits. And what do you do with all those little things that are kind of cool to have in a backpack, but it's just
Good,
trash?
that's good, all right.
You know, this is the kind of stuff that we were able, now we have now 7 Firewise communities up there, and they are all doing that work.
That's fine, yeah,
You
that's
see?
good.
So these are the kinds, and so everything I read to you and everything that I told you in terms of what we've accomplished so far, yes, they have, everything has its little things that I just didn't know how much time you guys had here. We could go for hours.
I was just trying to scare you out of the analytical side and get you to talk about humans, that's all. It was very analytical what you presented, okay?
Yeah, I have a question. Our relationship with the county and getting things done in the county has been a test. Everything that we've done. We got $1,400,000 grant to build a trail. The county didn't even apply for an encroachment permit for 4 years, and they had the money. 4 years. If the county is going to write you a letter, you can get it in about 2 months, if you're lucky. How do we get the county on board? You're on board, we're on board. How do we get the people that run the county on board?
I love those questions because that is what has been driving me from us, from the get-go. And to be organized, you have to take advantage of your organization. Our bylaws allow us to pass money through because we knew we needed to have control over our own destiny. We would work with the county, we tried to understand the regulations, we worked within the regulations, and we're working within, we basically gave people a voice. So our supervisor comes to our Cobb Area Council meetings. They get to hear, and they report to us, and they get to hear, and I don't know, everybody's involved. We'd like to get more people involved because, you know, now we've got maybe, our audiences at the Cobb Area Council are smaller than they were at the very beginning, you know, when everybody had gotten burned down. But I have not seen, put it this way, our supervisor in District 5 up there, it's Jessica Paiska, she is now sitting in front of the California Natural Resources Agency, and she is going to bat for us on fire. And you know, from people who didn't know what what a county person didn't even know what the good a CWPP is, to now we're talking about having a new culture of fire. I have to tell you, that is huge. I'm a member of the Fire Adapted Communities Learning Network, and what we have accomplished in this county around fire, being a poor, rural, didn't have any capacity within the last 9 years, is huge. It's a leap. I get to talk to counties all over and states all over and Canada and Hawaii. And what we have accomplished here is, for what we have had to deal with, is huge.
The other thing, one other little thing I'll mention that we found has been very useful in terms of working with the county is really having a little bit of independent power.
Yeah.
And this has been the power of having our own nonprofit. We've got a 501c3. That's how we were able to get a good proportion of the funding we brought in, that not having to depend on the county.
Do you have to get approval for the county for?
Wait, excuse me.
Not for a 501c3. No.
No. And you know, there's such a thing as public-private partnership, which is businesses and government, but there's also such a thing as public government and nonprofit partnerships. You have a South Lake Fire. We have a South Lake Fire Safe Council here for the South Lake Fire Protection District. I mean, that's the boundaries that they cover. There's a nice big 501c3 right there. They're the only, actually, they're the first 501c3 South Fire Safe Council in Lake County, and Mount Conocti just started theirs.
Here, we have a question here.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, Tom Lasik from District 4. I just want to point a couple things out. As some of you know, I go to a lot of these meetings around the county, and I would have to say that just anecdotally, I think the Cobb Valley is probably furthest ahead on fire risk mitigation than I see just about anywhere else in the county. But I wanted to ask about further if you can expand on the relationship between the 501c3 and the advisory council for Cobb, not only for fire but for the other things that are on your plan, and how you work together to obtain funding and all that stuff. Because that, to me, that's exciting because, as was just mentioned, how do you get attention, and you guys seem to have a very good symbiotic relationship, and I'd like you to expand on that.
Yeah, well, I'm on the LAPAC, so, and I've actually been to all the meetings, which most of the other members I haven't. Hey, you gotta, what is it, say 90% of it is showing up,
Well, let me put it another way. So, me and Jessica and Cindy Leonard and Kathy McCart, we got him elected to be the first chair of the Cobb Area Council.
Because they do what they tell me to do.
I mean, we like to laugh at that, right? But this guy is our planner. He does planning. He knows development, and so we were counting on him for this. But what we discovered was that nonprofits can be eligible for money that governments can't, and governments can be eligible for grants that nonprofits can't. So, being able to have the conversation, as any one of us would do the research and go, oh, look, this particular grant, it's eligible for nonprofits and government, but they really like partnerships. That would give us a leg up in terms of qualifying. So I mean, you start, the wheels start turning. And you're like, okay, what can we work together on?
And as I said, it's like a human body. You got organs, you got circulation system, you got a brain, you got a heart. It's all.
Oh, and then committees. We form committees because the committees is where the work gets done. Then you present at the council. Council just has to hear, okay, you've been thinking that out. Okay, great, that's a decision. Everybody say yay, no, and you've got your committee working on it already.
You build relationships, you build connections with staff. They get to know you, they trust you, they tell you things, you go to meetings, you hear things. We were just in a meeting yesterday where we've been trying, anyway, you get the idea.
We're at a point where we're thinking maybe we should train people to do this. I mean, us, we're thinking of that.
Okay, Lisa.
Okay, speaking of that.
Yeah.
So I have two questions, but the first one I want you to answer second, whatever. Okay, so one is a quick example of some of the data you collected, so it's not a mystery and just numbers.
Sure.
But wait, what's more important to me is, once the fire, you guys are like up there, there's something a little more central, even though you're spread out. And once it got down here, it was like spread out bigger. And I've been nagging you guys for a long time. All of the kids from up there and down here, they all go to the same place. And it's like, what would it take for you guys to help us here in Middletown to expand our fire plan, because we're in this together, like in a very, very big way. And like once we see what that goal is, maybe we can reach it. When it's ephemeral, it's like, oh, well, we can't do that. But like if we have some concrete stuff, maybe we can make something happen.
Okay, you go first.
I have some things in mind. I want to be very careful about what I say, because there are ways, there are mechanisms in place, but you have to actually make use of them. So for example, like your South Lake Fire Safe Council, they had us come down from Cobb, and we
just say it's an underutilized resource.
It's an underutilized resource, and a lot of conversation could be happening there, and then coming back to you guys over here in the Cobb Area Council.
Think of the fact that they've got a big pipe, big communications, cable already built into a lot of the other fire adaptation conversations.
Yeah, and we are. I just have to say that as a nonprofit, we're a very tiny nonprofit. There's basically just me and my husband and an administrator. I like to think that even just that much, focusing on pulling people together can make a difference. And probably what might need to happen, well, we just lost our funding. We just lost our federal funding because of this thing that's going on right now.
Yeah.
So I'll just come right out and say it. I'm not even going to get a salary this year. Okay? So you're asking, yes, you've been nagging at us, and we appreciate that, but it's not easy for us to do.
Well, I mean, I'm talking about a number, which
Yeah.
maybe you can give me another time so that we
Yeah.
can see, like, how we can do something for Middletown.
Yeah.
Because I think that there is such a thing as a power couple, of working together as a couple to make things happen.
Yeah.
And you guys are doing that, and it's
Yeah.
like, and you guys are right here, and for goodness sakes, we don't want to bring somebody in from out of the county to help
Right,
us.
right.
I mean, you are part of us.
We're committed to doing what we need to do in the county with county people. I don't want to, I'm happy that people are coming from Santa Rosa to clear out, and I really want to see our folks, our talented, skilled folks,
Right.
do it and have jobs for our kids to come to.
Right. Right. Yeah.
Again, this question is something we've been thinking about, is how do we duplicate what we've been doing? And what we realize what we're looking for is we're looking for another, we basically focus on groups this size, 3,000, 5,000 people max. That's a good workable number. If we could get 2 people, 3 or 4 people, who are, willing to put in the time, that we could do some training and mentoring and work through it, that would be an interesting conversation.
We had a few kids from the junior college that were volunteering and doing stuff like that. Have you guys reached out in that direction? Because we really do need the young people. There's a lot of gray hair in this room.
Yeah, good.
We've been at this for so long that even the people that we work with, their kids have aged out for us to even work with them.
Is there an anthropology teacher or some type of credits you can go there and try to campaign for?
Well, it's interesting that you asked that question, because just last year I started to work with a graduate student from UC Davis, and her focus is education. And in the course of doing work together, we found out that for a community to do what we're doing now, or trying to do in Lake County and promulgating in Lake County, we're going to need some different forms of community learning. There's a phrase that they use, community learning, and it's usually, you go to community college or you go to whatever, but we're looking for a live process, because we've got to get the kids on the ground. And that's why we want to keep sticking with you, Lisa, because you do get the kids there. We don't have that connection.
Let me suggest, we came across this some time ago, the old guy over here, Fletcher, the cowboy. We were trying to put together somebody to go around and just, I guess you could say, snitch on your neighbor and say, you're not fire safe, you need to get your act together. But if there is some kind of administrative biology class that, quote unquote, a semi-professor could do, since you guys want to do this for money, I do all my stuff for free, but that might be an avenue where you could go, because it would be a lot easier, I think, sometimes for a young, happy, optimistic face than somebody like me or Fletcher walk up there to your house and say, hey, man, there's a lot of bushes here.
It's going to take a village. I mean, what we're doing is what we're capable of doing with the time and energy that we have. I'm going to be 69 in May.
Yeah.
He's 72. So we're in the same boat with you here.
I know Cobb very well. What about the churches?
We have a question here on the floor, so if we can,
Okay.
we do need to move along. Thank you.
I have to stand up. There's very little difference. Hi. Pat Roy. I'm from Anderson Springs. 2 of the deaths from the Valley Fire were in Anderson Springs. We are a dead-end canyon. The people of Anderson Springs have been attempting to lobby for a second exit. We have been told, can't be done, can't be done. The landowners won't permit it. And maybe I'm looking for advice on how people, because people really are afraid. And my thought is, this can't be that hard. I mean, you have a stupid dirt road, like a fire road. You put a gate across it, a locked gate that is a breakaway gate that's going to cause real damage to your car, but it'll still work. Really, something so that kids aren't going to go out, joyriding Saturday night, and which is what supposedly the landowners are so against. And it's like, hi, wreck people's grills, wreck their things, and it'll be an escape route in a fire. But we have been told, no, can't happen. That has been what has happened so far. So do you have advice about where people could start putting pressure on this so that it isn't a dead issue, which is what we've been told? Thank you.
This emotion is good, and you got to be prepared to actually work it. That's what 9 years we've been working this. And I'm not saying that we're all like not going to burn up there. We got too much. We got just too much. That being said, your Firewise community in Anderson Springs. Yeah. So I just wanted to praise you and call you guys out, because you have been getting things done there that I haven't seen get done anywhere else. It's only a matter of time before you get to that too.
All right. So I would, we have one more question? Is that?
Well, my thing goes to, as if we follow we get this all going, I think everybody in this room can raise their hand and say their fire insurance has doubled or tripled, and people cannot afford it. And so if we don't do this, then we're in big trouble.
That's another half-hour presentation.
Yeah.
All right, thank you. So I'd like to thank, Magdalena and Elliot.
I will say that this document is available online.
Yeah.
I think I even saw it in your agenda, a link to it in your agenda at our website.
Yes, and I would encourage everyone to take a look at that, breeze through it, or read it in detail. It is really very thorough and has a lot of useful tools and items in there that I think we can utilize here in this area. Again, thank you very much.
Yeah.
There you go.
Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you.
Is it pertaining to this?
No, it's pertaining to this number you gave me.
I didn't give you the number.
Oh, so you could get the agenda text to.
Oh.
I need to find out about taxes and stuff like that. I'm pre-approved for a loan. I want to buy a property and.
Okay, can we talk to you after the meeting?
Oh, sure.
Because that.
Are we almost over? Because.
Oh,
And I have to go.
Why don't, let me get
Did you
your
get a phone
number.
or something?
He's got my number for the agenda, but we don't actually deal with that.
I wish we were almost over.
Why don't you give us your phone number, okay?
All right. Is that on? Yes. Thank you very much. Actually, I had the pleasure of first meeting, for better or for worse, Magdalena and Elliot almost immediately after the Valley Fire. So it was very nice to, and I've been watching, of course, what they've done up in their community. And as she said, they lost their home, and it really inspired them and their passion, as you could see, or whatever, to drive them forward to care not only about their own community but the entire community of Lake County. So anyway, and I hope that we can incorporate some of that as we also hopefully move into a discussion on our area plan. Next up on the agenda is the chair report. that's on me. Um,
How do you want to do it?
I wanted to talk a little bit again to remind us that we are a municipal advisory council. We are bound by the Brown Act. We do our best to comply, and as you can see from the setup in the room, this meeting here should actually be run very much like the Board of Supervisors meeting. So if you can picture that, but we don't have the dais here. We don't have, kind of the setup. We try to make this community meeting room here work for us to hold this municipal advisory council here that we call M.A.T.H, the Middletown Area Town Hall. We also do not have a security guard outside. And so we operate, as you heard our mission statement stated earlier today. The mission statement, as it states, this is the whole body coming together. We have a board here because as a municipal advisory council, we have to have a board. So, but as it's been pointed out many, many times, this board has little to no power. There are a few things per our bylaws that spell out that give this board authority to act or to do things, like, for instance, my job as chair is to produce the agenda and to hold order in this room so that we can be productive as a community. Our vice chair, Mr. Bill Waite, is also, he's responsible for the decorum of this meeting. So we would like to, much like we just heard our last two speakers, we would like to get some work done in this community and not spend so much time fussing with little things or individual needs or desires. We need to work together as a whole and respect and honor the majority. And so with that, I just wanted to again kind of remind us where we are, and that we are bound by the Brown Act. We also do our best to follow Rosenberg's Rules of Order. Both of those items are online if you'd like to look them up so that you know how we're conducting or how we try to conduct the meeting and the behavior and the respect in the room so that we can move forward and get some business done. Let's see, beyond that. Oh, so as evidenced earlier in the meeting, that if we are out of order or out of line and we cannot get things back into order, we will take a pause. That's what we need to do, again, because we do not have a security guard outside that can come into the room and help us get that order. So we will take a pause if that's what we need to do. And with that, I'll open it up for public comment.
Thank you very much, Monica. My name is Fletcher Thornton. I've been coming to the town hall meetings since it was first started and was in fact chairman for a number of years. We didn't have those kinds of problems. Yes, we had arguments and we talked things through, but everyone showed respect one for the other, and it worked well. This body has a responsibility to the community to do a job for the community. Our chairman doesn't get paid a lot of money to do this. And the verbal abuse is simply not acceptable. Not acceptable. If necessary, we're going to have to take some action to curtail the kind of activity that's been going on for the last 3 or 4 months. It's gotten in the way of doing some good work. It takes time to listen to people rattle on and not sit down, not shut up when the chair calls them out of order. If the chair calls me out of order, tells me to sit down, I'll sit down. I may not agree, and I don't agree with a lot of things. But that's beside the point. In our system, we give our opinions, and then we go on with the majority. So this body ought to think about what actions we can take, and I would ask the chairperson to talk to county council. We can't limit public input. We can't limit free speech, but we don't have to put up with disruptive manners from people. So, Madam Chairman, I request that you do that if you get a chance with the body's approval, so that we can not have these outbursts and verbal abuse and accusations, and it does us no good, and we don't get anything done. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Carlos Bono. This is besides and completely apart from Julia Bono's complaints. I just want to say that after several years of coming here to every meeting, well, first of all, I want to just illustrate something. How many people in the audience, can I have a show of hands, live in the town of Middletown?
Linda.
6. All right, now that's in the town, within the town limits.
There is no town limit.
There is no town limit.
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
Well,
There's several people here. I don't run into many of you on the street. I know that Dan and Lisa, they run businesses here, and Annette, I run into you. Of the people on the board, how many people live in Middletown proper?
There is no Middletown proper.
Okay, do you have a
No, it's just-
comment? Because you have
Yes, I
2
do.
minutes for a comment.
I do.
Thank you.
I have been coming to meetings for years. I've seen very little done, except for a $1.4 million, passage to the casino. We still have roads that are just horrendously potholed. We have fading crosswalks. We have non-existent stop signs. And I've been watching this for years. Nothing has gotten done. We've seen all kinds of presentations up here. Nothing has gotten done with these issues. And that's all I want to say. I think having Julia, she would be an asset because she gets things done. And she doesn't back down easy. So anyway, with that said,
I have a petition to read signed by 54 individuals regarding the importance of Middletown proper retaining its 2 seats
And
on
your
the
name,
Mass
your
Board.
name, please. And
My name's
you-
Julia Bono.
And you have 2 minutes.
Okay. We, the undersigned residents of the Middletown area, hereby demand that the Middletown Area Town Hall or Mass Board and the Lake County Board of Supervisors that oversees Mass. Is there a supervisor here today? Nope. No. Okay. And take joint and immediate action to ensure fair representation for the Middletown proper region by retaining its mandated 2 seats on the Mass Board. We also call for the immediate and permanent resignation of Chair Monica Rosenthal from the Mass Board due to her improper actions that have undermined the integrity of the election process and violated the core principles of transparency and fairness as mandated by the Brown Act that this organization is supposed to operate under. Reasons for this petition: violation of nomination procedures. During the December 12, 2024 Mass meeting, Chair Monica Rosenthal officially closed election nominations at the 1 hour and 40-minute mark on the video, and then just 20 minutes later, she falsely stated that nominations were still open in order to accept an additional nomination. She then refused to disqualify this nomination when confronted about it. This improper action compromised the integrity of the election process. Secondly, misrepresentation of election procedures. Despite publicly stating when asked at the same December 12th meeting that the Middletown proper region is mandated to have 2 seats on the Mass Board as per the bylaws, Rosenthal then made an unauthorized private decision to allocate one of the 2 vacating Middletown proper seats to the at-large region. This contradicts the Mass Bylaws' key provision to guarantee Middletown proper's 2 board representatives at all times. Rosenthal's decision was made without public input or broader membership approval and was distributed to the Mass audience by email. She overstepped her authority. Chair Rosenthal clearly overstepped her authority by making significant election decisions privately without consulting the M.A.C. membership or adhering to the M.A.C. bylaws, major provisions guaranteeing the Middletown proper region 2 board seats. Failure to correct actions. Despite being informed of these serious issues in a formal written complaint, Chair Rosenthal failed to take corrective action to address the improper nomination and the misallocation of board seats. What our petitioners are asking for. We believe these improper actions by Rosenthal have severely undermined the trust and confidence of Middletown area residents.
Your time is up, so can you wrap up your thought, please?
Yes, ma'am. We demand the following: the immediate correction and redistribution of the election process overview document, which is somewhat moot because the election was allowed to go forward. The immediate resignation of Chair Monica Rosenthal from the M.A.C. board for her improper actions and a permanent ban based on her future participation on that board, and the formation of a committee to review and address these issues, ensuring that the M.A.C. board adheres to its bylaws.
I do
and
have
the
to cut
principles
you
of the
off
Bowne
now.
Act.
You are at 3 minutes. Thank you very much.
Monica?
I'm sorry. If it's brief.
I'm there.
If
I'm
it's
brief.
Brief, yes.
Just call me brief.
Okay. Thank you.
I would like to point out that the chair, per our bylaws and per Rosenberg's rules, chairs the meeting. And decisions that she makes relative to that chair is either approved or not approved by the body. Every time. Anytime we don't like what she's doing, we can move to overrule and have her overruled. That's just that simple.
Thank you. And yes, and that's per Rosenberg's rules.
Yeah, so that's right out of the book. I've got it. So everything that was been said about this process was all approved by this body as a majority. You may not like it, you may not agree with every part of it, but this body approved everything. So I would defend the chair, not Monica, but the chair. If we don't protect the chair, then who's going to keep track of the meeting and see that it's run properly? So.
Thank you. Yes, and please state your name.
My name is Dan Tyrell. 2 things. Mr. Thornton, there's nothing brief, anything about Fletcher.
No, I tried.
I've been to a number of meetings. I think you guys do a great job. So
Thank you.
I just wanted to speak up for you.
Thank you. So, and Julia, you did go way over 3 minutes, but I did let Fletcher up to speak again, so please go ahead. You have 1 minute.
Thank you,
So
ma'am.
it's about how much time Fletcher had.
All right. Regarding the move to overrule, I did make a complaint, and it's record on the video of Monica's error. I did point it out to the body at the time it occurred. Also, there are 54 signatures, verified signatures on this petition. All right, their viewpoint needs to be taken into account here too. Not just the people that can make it to this meeting, but the people who can't make it to the meeting, the people who took the time to sign the petition. There are 54 people standing behind me, demanding for these things to take place.
Thank you. Okay, any other comments from the public? Okay, yes, Nanette?
What I wanted to say, as Fletcher's pointed out, we can't do anything unless the public that is here tonight puts in a vote. Where are those 54 people? Have they ever shown up to any of these meetings? Have they ever spoken on JPEG or whatever it is? If they're really that concerned, then let's see their faces.
Exactly. And who's this mysterious person that Monica inserted at the last minute? Because it sure wasn't me. So there's a lot that's going on, and I thought that the process was actually manipulated very well, because when I walked in, I was Joe Stranger. She asked me to sign the petition, and I said, once I saw the sign that says "Hate Monica" and has a cross on it, I thought this is really vindictive, and people, if you appeal to their anger, that's what you're going to have all the time, is anger. And for what, since December, we've been dealing with this kind of stuff with the same people. Okay, I looked at your letter, Julia, and I really, I thank you for having the passion to really feel that this is something you feel strongly about. I think I looked at what Monica's done, and this is just Joe Charlie talking. And Monica has tried to handle, basically she's tried to manage a riot most of the time. I mean, my campaign speech was, this is a thankless job. Vote for me if you want. I'll do the best I can for you. But I think that we did maintain a post box, and she deserves to have her $4.50 back for her certified letter. And I think we should just drop it. There's $5 on the table over here. She can come on up and have her certified letter back and her $5. And we have learned from this. And Julia, please let us do what we can do is save our community. I want to talk about water and fish. That's why I wear this hat. Okay? So that's my 2 bits. But Monica,
Thank
you got the final say.
Okay, well, we're moving on to item number 7 now, because I think we've already, excuse me, you've had 2 times at the mic. Can you
It's
please
closed.
sit down?
Thank
Thank you.
Well, if he's addressing me personally, I thought perhaps.
You can talk to me after the group.
Yes,
you can talk to me after. It's fine.
Correct.
Okay.
So I will turn over, the next item is dealing with that grievance that we talked about. So I will be turning this over to our vice chair, and I will be exiting the room. While you solve this. Go Bill.
I don't think you have to leave the room. She asked me to reiterate. To me, it's a reiteration, and it's becoming almost a habit that every meeting we come up, we've got a grievance to deal with here. As far as this, why?
This item was was tabled and has to be brought off the table in order to discuss it. I make a motion to bring this grievance off the table from our last meeting and put it before the board.
I think we had a committee last time. It was supposed to be us 3 make a decision on this and get it over with.
I'm just telling you what, if you want to stop this stuff from happening, follow the rules.
Okay. Well,
Can we second it?
Okay, we got a motion and a second to
All
take
those
it
in
off the
favor?
table and bring it up for discussion.
Bring it up for discussion. Yeah.
Okay, and it's brought up for discussion. I'm sorry, I have the floor. Thank you. No, this is the reason why we have
No more
so much
public
disruption and we can't get anything done. Ms.
Mr.
Bono,
Vice
please sit down, and we are going
I'm trying
on
to
with what
understand
I'm
the
talking
nature of the
about.
process.
Will you please sit down? Thank you. Okay, I thought this was all brought up before, and we did talk about it before, we did table it. It was discussed thoroughly already previously, and it was turned over to me to deal with. And I have dealt with it, I've looked at it, and I remember all the discussions that we had last time. We couldn't come to any decision that there was anything that needed further ado. It was brought up, it was published. Ms. Rosenthal followed a protocol that I thought kept everybody informed as to everything that was going on. This thing has been beat to death, so as far as I'm concerned, it's a dead point, and I don't see the need to form a committee of board members or anybody else to deal with this item any further. And so as far as I'm concerned, it's a moot point, and we don't need anything discussed further. If anybody has anything they want to bring up about that, then so do it. Go ahead.
Yes, sir.
Wait,
I have a point. I'm at the mic, you're not.
wait, we have a motion.
Motion to accept the report of the grievance committee.
Okay, the motion of the grievance committee is to make it a moot point and terminate discussion on that point. Okay, now you can discuss that.
I second. Anybody else?
Well, I think that we need to have a discussion on the topic before we make this. First of all, it's not a moot point. There is a legitimate
In your opinion,
request.
that's not a moot point, okay.
Yeah, where do you see moot? Moot is if it's not an issue. What is not an issue exactly? The request for resignation, the fact that Middletown proper doesn't have its 2 seats on the board. I mean, this is bylaws. Mr. Fletcher Thornton here, he is somebody that has written the bylaws. He is somebody that should be enforcing the bylaws. It says clearly 2 Middletown proper seats on this board. I do not see 2 people on this board from Middletown proper. When are you going to, how is that a moot point exactly?
The point is, you've pointed out all the errors. Nobody seems to think that anything else needs to be done about it, nor do I.
That's not
And
true.
that's where
54
we're
people standing
leading
behind
it.
me.
And I represent 6,000 people from Hidden Valley Lake, and I think I have a say in this as well.
I'm sorry,
As
you're
did
not here
Lisa,
from
et cetera.
Middletown. Hidden Valley Lake cannot overrule
This
Middletown.
is the Middletown Area Town Hall, and
Could
I'm
not-
not going to sit here and argue with
So,
me.
hold on,
The
those
discussion,
bylaws
your
that you have
discussion,
in
this
front of you-
discussion is done.
Sir, those
This
bylaws that you have in
discussion is
front of you.
finished.
Carlos Bono here. Since there's maybe 5 or 6 people that live in Middletown proper here. Of these people, how many speak Spanish? Because 2/3 of my neighbors speak Spanish. You speak. Okay, Miss Pat Roy, you represent Anderson Springs.
What does that have to do with it?
You represent Hidden Valley.
No, I don't represent Hidden Valley. To
Apparently
me,
so.
I am sitting here on this board representing the Middletown area.
Then
And
I
anybody
move
that
I move
needs,
to rename the.
if anybody needs anything done in Middletown, as much as the Hidden Valley Lake people, we need Middletown to support us. And that's why I'm here, is to help Middletown grow and put my expertise and previous history out here on the floor to make things work. And we can't make things work if we're constantly fighting amongst ourselves. We need to get other stuff done here, and we're not able to get it done because we're fighting internally. And like I said, this has been done. We did it by the bylaws. The committee has voted that it doesn't need to be going any further, and we have a motion on the floor to just terminate this matter and put it to rest. And what?
I believe that this entity would best be named the South Lake County Fire District Advisory Board, since their Middletown really has nothing to do with it.
Thank you. Thank you. So noted. You're on record. All right. Anybody else have anything they want to bring up? Otherwise, we'll call for a vote. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? One opposed?
That would be a nay.
2 opposed.
That's a
Okay.
nay. No, no, no.
People who signed the petition are opposed.
6,000 people from Hidden Valley
Where are they?
are for it. Thank you very much.
It's a mute point. It's a mute point.
Thank you very much.
We need you. Come back.
Thank you very much.
According to Rosenberg,
Thank you very much.
No longer represents Middletown.
Thank you very much.
the chair can ask you to leave, according to Rosenberg's rules.
I'm out of here.
Thank you.
What about her $5?
Oh, yeah, she got her $5.
Here, give it to
Give me that. Give it to Charlie. Give it to Charlie.
I'll take it out to her.
We're on the bylaws now.
Okay.
I make a motion to get a P.O. box. We don't have a P.O. box.
No. We figured that out last meeting.
Okay.
Vice Chair,
I'm finished.
is your item complete?
Yes.
Thank you.
Done. And this point is put to bed.
Next item on the agenda is the bylaws update. So, and that too was sent out to everyone to take a look at. Basically, the process that I used, again, if you all recall, at the last meeting, we had some discussion about the bylaws and where the boundaries should be, how we should change it and stuff. We couldn't really come to an overall writing consensus, other than that we all care about Middletown and the area. So from that, this body did assign to me the chair to move forward with the bylaws and form a committee. I did not form a committee per se, other than to form an ad hoc committee of 2. I met with the vice chair and myself, just 2 members of the board of the committee, so that we did not violate the Brown Act. It was not a quorum. We went over the bylaws basically and decided to present bylaws to you, eliminating all reference to other locations or areas or boundaries, and just make this as Middletown Town Hall representing the Middletown area. And our elections would be based on those people who wish to serve and represent the Middletown area. So again, the bylaws have been, we've removed and or changed, made some modifications. I know that our vice chair wanted to take out certain words like shall and change it to will, right? Is that what we did?
Much of that stuff, yes.
Yes. So we did some of that. And then there was also a little bit of redundancy that we took out. So with that, I do have some extra copies here of the bylaws if anybody wants a printed copy.
Are these with the revisions that you
Yes.
made?
Mhm.
Oh,
Yes.
and that's what we sent out, right?
Yes, and the process, how this works is we do need the body to review the bylaws, come back with any comments or suggestions, agree with the changes that have been made, and or we could move to assigning a committee to then continue the work on the bylaws. There you go. Anybody else would like a copy?
This is what we sent out in the email, though, correct? What you've got in your hand?
This is what went out to the email to everybody as
Yes.
well.
That's all I got, is just one more. So the way the process works is that the body does need to come to agreement on the bylaws. We need to allow for like a 30-day notice on the bylaws, and then we'll do the final vote. So we are a month or two away on this. And then something that I just recently learned is we have changed our bylaws, I believe, 10 times since the formation of the Middletown Area Town Hall. The last change and update we made to the bylaws was March of 2024. Those bylaws were reviewed by County Council of Lake County, but then come to find out that none of our bylaws revisions from maybe the first one or second one, none of them have gone before the Board of Supervisors for approval. And much has changed over the years in regard to the municipal advisory councils and with our Board of Supervisors, but basically over the last 16 years, nobody has approved any of our bylaws. And so we still have on the county website old and outdated bylaws. And so the county process basically is that then once we approve them, we have to send them into the Board of Supervisors. They will put them on the agenda to be approved. So that's our process on the bylaws. And with that, any comments from the board here?
We're hoping that everybody has read it, or if we haven't, we could even do some discussion and then maybe table it and bring it up again at the next meeting. But if anybody wants it to make any changes or thinks some other changes need to be made, we can incorporate this in, because this is meant for everybody's input to perfect it or bring it up to date, a little more current and a little more clear. I think transparency here is very important. As I pointed out before, I think I like the idea that we did away with the miscellaneous borders and everything, and everybody's input. We're all here to help improve our whole town hall area, and people are here from all other areas as well as the local people, and we need to work together more closely for that. I tried to stress that when I was on the board at Hidden Valley, and got Hidden Valley more incorporated in dealing with Middletown as well. And I'm glad to be here on the other side of that coin now, and I am really hoping that we can improve things. I live here. I've lived in the area, or I've been in the area since 1997. I'm not local. I don't live in Middletown, but I do my business here. And our kids go to school here. our fire protection is here. If anybody wants Middletown to improve, it's Hidden Valley the way it stands right now. And we play an important role in the future of this county, and we are going to be the leaders, and we need to remain that way. And that's my point on it. Thank you.
Any other board comments before we open it up to the public? No? Okay.
Fletcher
Mr. Thornton?
A good job. A lot of work went in, a lot of thought, and I think it's a good job. A couple things. I would always like to stress the autonomy of the town hall and not being subject to directions, input, directions, registrations by the Board of Supervisors. They've got their hands full, and we don't need their advice. They need our advice.
That's right. Exactly.
So, second thing is, section 5, paragraph 1. This is the only place that says it. Members of M.A.T.H direct the replacement of a governing board. I would like to get rid of the word governing because it doesn't apply to this board, and just put board of directors. Replacement of a board member. That's all you got to delete governing.
Okay.
Hmm?
Or current board member.
Just a board member. Governing, by definition, is direction and or making decisions, and our board doesn't make the decisions. You make all the decisions. So I think we ought to get rid of that term. Other than that, I think you guys did a really good job. And that's not a change you made. I don't know how I got in there, but it needs to be deleted, in my opinion.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Linda?
Linda Deal Darms here. I did review the bylaws, and I do have a couple of questions. On Article 3, it says that all math meetings are open to the public. However, in order to vote in any election or action taken by math, persons must reside within the boundaries of South Lake protection as established. No voting by proxy shall be permitted. And then on Article 4, Section 1, on the second page, paragraph 4, it says this is inconsistent with page 1, Article 3, where it states no voting by proxy. This paragraph was about if, let's say we're in December, and there's someone who is wants to be nominated, and they have every intention of coming to the meeting, and something happens that they can't be here. That's why that was in here, is that they could sign that they would like to be nominated and sign it, and it's not an action or a vote. It's just a nomination. So I just wanted to point that out, that I don't see that as inconsistent. And also page numbering. This is just me being OCD. So 1 of 5, you turn it over, and
the page numbering is not correct.
Yeah, the page numbering needs to be corrected. Also, it says in section 4, under board structure and officers, secretary, in addition, the secretary shall accept submissions of agenda items for the group's consideration. My understanding was that the secretary has the emails, and if someone wanted to put something on the agenda, they present that to the chair. And so I didn't understand why that was deleted or proposed to be deleted.
It was deleted, or it's proposed to be deleted, because the chair sets the agenda. So all agenda items should come before the chair, and as we have done in the past, the items come before the chair and then to the membership. So for instance, like with Magdalena and Elliot, who were here speaking, to put them on the agenda, we asked the membership, do you want them to come?
Right.
And then
I understand that, but I'm
Yes.
talking about something that may not be a speaker, just a subject of some kind to be brought up and have on the agenda for discussion. That in the past, and what I'm trying to...
Yeah, so that, in the beginning of the meeting, we go through the approval of the agenda. And again, there have been
So it
times
can
that
be
I've
added.
added things to the agenda. Again, I've asked the membership, do you wish to add this to the agenda?
Okay, I just wanted to make
So
sure.
that's how that's handled.
And then the other thing is, it says South Lake Fire Protection District. The South Lake Fire Protection District goes all the way to Loch Lomond. It goes down Big Canyon Road, and we overlap with the Cobb Municipal Advisory Committee. And if we're going to redo these, I think that we should have the Middletown area and not infringe on the Cobb Municipal Advisory.
Well, Cobb is a new entity, and they don't seem to want to be part of us, because we tried this for years. You know this, Fletcher. And it just seems like every time we try, they didn't want to do it, and then they want to do their own thing. So,
No.
I mean, the speaker today was wonderful. I just wish that we were doing we're on the same wavelength, because, you know.
I don't think it's an issue.
Yeah. Yeah, I think
over-
it
yeah,
is,
the
it's not
over-
an issue. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So you guys want to stay including them in our
think-
Municipal Advisory Committee boundaries?
Well, over 10 years, I guess my question would be, has it been an issue? Have we had any issue with it?
Not yet, but it's in the bylaws, and I thought we were trying to clean them up so we don't have any potential.
You weren't here last
That's all.
month.
And then that
We
means
did this last month. It was,
redefining-
you got a vacation, okay? No, last month we even had Helen in here, and she had her own ideas on top of it. It got really crazy, okay? So, yeah, talk to me later.
Okay, that's all I have to say.
Thank you,
You
Linda.
guys did a really good job, and I'm glad you took out the Middletown proper and the this, that, and that was a good idea.
Well, it takes a staff person to keep track of all of that, I gotta tell you.
My turn?
Yes.
Tom Lasik, again, I don't have a dog in this hunt, but I did want to share what is going on in District 3, because they have all the earths, Surth, Mirth, Girth, Worth, they're all there. But they take great care to make sure that that line is understood. So it's not so much that, they want to make sure no one's not represented. And then they also want to make sure that if I live in that sort of DMZ area, who do I go to? Do I go to Cobb? Do I go to Middletown? So it might be worth, if there is an issue like that, to work with the other advisory council and potentially agree. And by the way, this came up in the Board of Supervisors meeting just earlier this week between, I think, Earth and Surf. And it had to go back because there was a question. So I wouldn't just, with all due respect, I wouldn't just not consider it.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Thank you. And you had a comment?
I just wanted to expand on a suggestion that was made with respect to the boundaries. If we are overlapping, it could be an easy adjustment to make to say that we cover this area excluding areas within the Cobb Area Council, for example. Just as a wording thing, it doesn't have to be very difficult. It doesn't have to require a lot of mapping. I understand that I wasn't here last month. I do understand that, but I thought I'd offer a suggestion. And also, I just wanted to just say that although I understand that, a lot has gone on and things are so difficult, but as someone who started coming to this area, I didn't live in this area then, but in the 80s, when Hidden Valley was still 95461 and very small, and we had to come down here to go to Hardisters and Jolly Cone and all that stuff, that's when I fell in love with Middletown. And I just want to make sure that we're all conscious of not just addressing the problems that we have right now, but with the utmost respect for those who have served on the board of Hidden Valley. I don't want this to turn into that either. And I feel like the population there could easily, take over here. Now, the great thing about it is that this, as has been pointed out, is not a governing board. And I think that that's an excellent solution. Do a word search and take out anything that says governing. Because if Middletown were to be, succumbed, I don't know what the word is, but, like all those people could come and be voted. But keep in mind, too, so could all of Hidden Valley. And there would be no chance. So I just want to make sure that, I'm not saying I disagree with this and I understand the reasoning, but I also understand the reasoning why it was put in, and I wouldn't want, Middletown to just not have a say in its own being. Thanks.
Thank you.
Can I clarify that, please?
Okay.
When we first formed the town hall, Hidden Valley came to the first meeting, and they had probably 30 or 40 people there. And when we started talking about delegates, they thought they should have 8 or 10 delegates. And of course, they had the volume, they had the people up there. And the board decided that in order to make it so everybody could participate without anybody being overshadowed, that we would limit it by area. That's how we came up with Hidden Valley, South Lake County, Cobb, and all of that area, so that Hidden Valley wouldn't come down and elect 10 people. So that's why that happened. But it was never really a big issue. Hidden Valley never did that. Just one group one time talked about it, but when we explained it to them, that all went away, and they've been very good and have been a big part of the town hall, and I'm glad to have them.
Thank you. Thank you. You have a comment?
Hi, Terry Barra. So just as a really quick comment to that, the fact that the board only has 1 vote per person, all of us have 1 vote per person, even with the lines, Hidden Valley could do that right now before we even approve those lines. It makes no difference where the lines are. That doesn't protect us against Hidden Valley coming and taking over the vote.
Sounds like
It just
communist.
unfortunately.
Yeah, you have to come to.
Don't listen.
You have to come to 3 meetings. So if
There you go. Am I supposed to call on you? Are you wanting to talk next?
No, are you done?
Yeah, sure. I
Yeah,
mean,
if
that's
you're not
all.
done,
The
then-
whole point was just the lines don't matter.
Thank you.
I would say the opposite is true. It's just so funny that we're even how many people here are from Hidden Valley, within the gates? It's a non-anything, It's like I'm from the Ranchos, technically. Mary, you're from the Ranchos. You're from Anderson. It's like he's from Jerusalem, whatever it's called, grade. It's like we're all from different parts of what's called the Middletown Unified School District and the South Lake County Fire Protection Area. And it's just like we're representing because we show up. And it's a non.
And it wasn't an issue when we had basically most of the people on the board were from the casino or from the rancho. So I mean, it comes and goes. This is a thankless job. So, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so where do we sit with the bylaws then?
We'll vote on them next time.
Yep. Do you want
need a
to see,
motion? Do we need a motion?
Is it okay with this body if the vice chair and I take another look at the bylaws and make a few changes, incorporate some of the suggestions tonight, bring them back, or send them out?
Once you agree with me.
We'll send them out to the membership, and hopefully everyone will take a look at those, and we can vote on them at the next meeting. Does that sound good?
Let me make a motion to put it on the agenda for a vote.
That's what I was asking. At the next meeting.
Okay.
I'll second
Make
that.
a motion that the chair and vice chair make changes.
Oh, use the loud.
Yeah, please. Fletcher, can you make a motion with the microphone? Yeah.
Sorry.
I make a motion that this assembly authorize the chair and the vice chair to make changes as recommended by this body and present them for a vote at our next regularly scheduled meeting.
Do I have a second?
Lisa seconded.
Okay, we have a first by Fletcher Thornton and second by Lisa Kaplan. Any further discussion? Mr. Hank Lesher has a comment.
Hank Lesher, I just wanted a clarification. If we make changes and the changes, the only way that we get to see them before the meeting is if they're mailed out, we still, can we vote on an amendment without, I think it says that it has to be, that we all have to see the changes at a meeting before we can vote
That's what we're doing
for the
now.
next meeting.
And then the next
following
one.
So they don't
Yeah,
exist
it'll show up
yet,
in
so
the-
this could be 6 months.
It'll show up with the agenda next
So-
time.
But
Yeah. We can email that out in advance.
In a perfect world, we'd have it together by next month. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
Tara, are you writing this?
Yes.
But Fletcher, in 2019, it took us like 5 months to get it pushed through, So that's why I said I don't want to be on a committee again.
Exactly, because we have work to do.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
So,
onward.
okay, we will do our best. We'll, hopefully the changes will be minor enough and folks will read them and we'll see what we can do at the next meeting with those to move the bylaws forward. Correspondence.
She told me to fuck off.
First off, I'll hand it to you. No, we're not doing that yet. Lisa, you're just telling us if you received any mail.
So Linda sent in something about the stop signs, which didn't make it to the agenda. The other stuff made it to the agenda. During this meeting, I got a note from Kate Schmidt-Hopper who said, very disappointing, Mr. Peg TV, that it wasn't still streaming because she's watching from there. Something else came in. There's a bunch of stuff on the Nina Star farm. For those of you who are interested, because what is your first name? Beth. So there's some from you. So you've been seeing most of the stuff, but there's like stuff still happening with that. Yes. And then we got John's PowerPoint, which I sent out, and I'm pretty sure. Oh, and Fletcher contacted me by phone to ask to put something on the agenda.
I think we've covered it.
Yeah, that's what I thought would happen. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so with that, that's the news from the secretary. So I will also share with you just a quick update on the Cannabis Ordinance Task Force. That there was a South Lake County representative that was supposed to be elected to the Cannabis Task Force at this last Board of Supervisors meeting on Tuesday. That has been postponed, or let's say it was pulled from the agenda with an undefined or undeclared time to be revisited. And following that too, and I'm not quoting him, so forgive me if I get this slightly wrong, but the chair did take a question from the audience in regard to that, and what kind of impact that would have on the Cannabis Force task and its work progress, because it's supposed to be completed by the end of the month. And the answer was more or less that he did not have an answer to that question. So it's a little undefined at this point in time exactly what the status moving forward is with the Cannabis Task Force and all the work that they've put in now for almost 3 years. So with that, other projects and there are a number of other projects here in the area. I just wanted to go over that list really quick if anybody's interested, or should I?
That's some information that I'd like to share on planning.
Okay, so let me run through this list real quick, and then we'll take some public comment on that, and then move to a couple of other pieces of correspondence. So future projects, I think as you all know, the Gwinnett Valley project is still in motion. There's also that because it's Loch Lomond with a Middletown address, it comes up in the Middletown area, the Bellwood Motel, and also the Loch Lomond Resort. in the Loch Lomond area, and those are both in one is in CEQA and one is in review. There's work to be done on the Wardlaw Bridge repair, and that is currently in review. Or at least I think this is good news. There's a project on the list for Middletown Sutter Park, downtown on Calistoga Street, and that is currently in review in the planning department. There is also, I just put a plug in for Cobb Community Park. That's also in the works. Other than that, there were a few lot mergers and there's a solar panel project. Beyond that, there are several cannabis projects that are on the agenda. There are 4 in the Jerusalem Valley area. One is Davis Farm, Pink House, Gaston Ag Company, and Biblical Ventures. They are in various status. Let's see, the Pink House is actually in final review in the planning department, and the other are in review or at the CEQA stage. There's also Hummel Lane Farms on Shady Grove, and High Can, also located on Shady Grove. And as Lisa had mentioned, there is the appeal for the Nina Star project, also on Shady Grove. Shady Grove, for those of you who don't know, is located just south of town, about the same area where the Welcome to Lake County sign is. Then there's also an incomplete project review on Diamond J. Blossom Technologies on Calliomi Road is in review. And then the Rancho Lake Grange Road is in final review. Please don't ask me what the difference is in timeline between in review or final review. I do not know. So, other than I'm thinking final review is getting close to getting to the Planning Commission. And that's what I have to say on that. Public comment?
Yes, thank you. People have been asking me about the carbonizer out by my house. They have giant stacks of logs and they're burning them and creating carbon and then bagging it up and sending it off somewhere. If you want more detailed information, I have the name and number of the lady from Lake County that handles the Fire and Forestry Program Coordinator. That's what she is. So if you need that information, they're just burning the stuff, carbonizing it, putting in bags, looks like about 500-pound bags, and they're going to tote bags and haul it off. They put it in soil and all that.
Filters,
But I found
they use
out
it for
something.
filters too.
The stuff, if you get it on the ground somewhere it's not supposed to be, it lasts 2,500 years, so it's not something you can get rid of easily. Second thing, we have to be prepared for some construction work on 29 from about the Shell station all the way to just above the mansion. Those roads don't meet code, and they're going to do to those slopes that come down that have no parking and no shoulder, they're going to move those back, same as they did on north of Hidden Valley, up there where all the rocks are and all that. So it's going to be a mess probably all summer. So
Probably a couple of years.
yeah, I know you wanted to hear that. So
Thank you. That's good news.
Yeah, so in regard to that, also in communication list, which I'll get back to, but one of the things is, as is on the agenda, Izzy from Caltrans will be coming back to give an update on those projects, all within downtown Middletown area as well as the surrounding areas. Yes, Linda.
Linda Deal-Darms. Monica, the bridge, you mentioned they're doing the Wardlaw Bridge. I don't know if anybody's familiar with the Wardlaw Bridge, but I encourage you to go check it out. There is a plaque on that bridge, and it's a really cool designated, and I want to know if that's going to be still part of that bridge, because at one time we were part of Napa County, and it says that on this plaque, and it's history, and I hope that they do something to honor that plaque. So I don't know what we can do. Do you want me to write a letter? Does M.A.T.H want to write a letter? I don't know.
better if they don't just tear it
Put together a petition. I think that's something everybody can agree on and sign. That's actually very good.
Bring a petition, like take a picture of it and then
Yeah,
bring a petition?
take a picture of it, put something together and say, we support this. We can send it to Mike Thompson, everybody.
Okay, and
Okay.
I'll send it to the MAP email?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Sure. That's
Okay.
exactly why I bring up these projects, because I think we need to get involved in our local projects. So, Beth, you have a comment?
Beth Kershaw. This is in regards to the cannabis grow, 3 of them on Spruce Grove. We're going to be having a coffee.
You're talking Shady Grove?
Around Shady Grove.
Yeah.
Specifically the Nina Farms ones is the one, Nina Star Farms is the one the first one that's a priority because we have a appeal to the denial on Tuesday the 25th. So I just want to invite anyone who's interested or concerned about that particular area to meet for coffee and breakfast at Perry's Deli tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. so that we could maybe address some of the concerns, maybe a little more thorough. We had just a few of us show up at the actual hearing that took place, and thankfully it was denied. But we've got lots of really great suggestions on how to beef that up in case the day of the appeal something new is brought up that we don't know about. So anyone who's interested, we'd love to have you. It's just friends and neighbors getting together, trying to make sure that we've got all of our T's crossed and I's dotted for the upcoming hearing.
And that hearing affects all of us because it affects the creek. Okay, we just can't afford to have too many straws in the creek and taking the water away. Okay, this year is the first year I'm hoping to get a copy of the picture of a coconut salmon that made its way all the way up from Lake Berryessa. Okay, 100 years ago, talk about Napa County days, we used to have a salmon run on our creek, and I think we're one of the few creeks in Lake County that actually had salmon because we connect to Sassoon and Fairfield and all of that. So it's really, really important that we, stick to the rules. Solano County has been very liberal about making sure they preserve our environment. They have a lot of really great environmental groups down there, and I would like to see that somebody fudging the water like it does happen doesn't get a chance to happen because it's just not right. Our kids should be eating salmon, and we should be having salmon festivals right here. Okay?
Okay, so that project that Beth was just speaking of, I believe there were 4 planning commissioners that heard that project, and it was a 4-0 vote. I'm getting a nodding of the head in agreement, but so that was a 4-0 vote opposed to the project there on Shady Grove. And as I said, the applicants have appealed that to the Board of Supervisors. I believe one of the biggest factors was water on that project. Anyway, so any other comments on projects in the area? Okay. No, not yet. Because I have another piece of correspondence that I received as the chair. I received a letter from Lisa Kaplan, here to my left, that she is asking to resign or wishes to resign from the board.
Right.
So will we, as correspondence is action, in case there is something we need to take action on, we could take action on this, and my question would be, is anybody want to make a motion to accept Lisa's resignation from the board?
No way, she lives in Middletown.
She lives in the ranchos.
May I ask who
Okay,
are
Mike.
the alternates?
Okay, so Mr. Fletcher Thornton is asking who the alternates are. One of the alternates is sitting right behind you, Tara, and then the second alternate is Pat Roy, who is sitting behind Tara.
And then the third is Dan.
Okay.
We only
Let me
have 2.
ask it.
No, but I mean, he will be.
Maybe we can settle this. Madam Chair, can we, in fact, allow her to resign tonight and replace her?
Yes.
tonight?
Yes, I think we can vote on that, right?
Oh,
No,
yes.
you don't vote on that.
We can.
Come on, guys. Let's make this easy.
We have to vote on it, don't we?
Yes, yes, the membership, we, the board and the membership,
You're to
we all,
accept my
everybody in this room.
Motion to accept the resignation.
Thank you. We
Mary.
have a motion on the floor.
I make a motion to seat,
Wait,
We got a motion
wait.
on the
We have
floor.
to accept one motion at a time, or you can amend her. You
I'll
can.
amend it, I'll
Thank
ask
you.
to amend her motion. We accept a friendly amendment?
Certainly.
My friendly amendment, and that we replace Lisa with this young lady here behind me.
Tara.
Tara? I just met her tonight.
So the amended motion is to accept Lisa's resignation and to move the alternate Tara into the empty slot on the board, the empty seat.
I have one question though. Tara, how good are you with electronics and such? Because there's going to be a lot of emails and stuff you're going to have to do.
She's under 40.
Okay.
Okay, we have a motion. And was that amendment to your motion okay? Okay, thank you. We have a motion.
What's that?
Please, second. Thank you. Linda has second. Any other discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
So moved. Or, I mean, any opposed? Okay, so moved. Onward. So, and thank you very much, Lisa, for your service.
You're welcome.
So for serving on the board.
Only happens because we show up, guys.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So future agenda items, again, as I said before, and was written on the agenda that in June, we are currently expecting or anticipating that Caltrans will come back and give us an update on the projects. April and May, unless, of course, you, the body, please interject. We have bylaws, of course, that'll be coming back on the agenda. But what I'd really like to get into discussing is, kind of following through on some of the ideas that were brought to us this evening from Magdalena and Elliot, but also talking about our area plan. So because the area plan will be coming back around, and they're planning on bringing it to the M.A.C, so to the Middletown Area Town Hall, for discussion and further input and thoughts, since this is where the action is. So I think we need to talk about it a little bit. Take a look at the map. We need to talk about some zoning. We need to talk about what we want to see down the line in our future. Where is our housing, and where might we need to change some density so that we can make room for more housing, if that's something we want to do. So where's our commercial, and how's that working for us? So anyway, so those are just my thoughts. Now, I welcome your thoughts.
On the agenda, I'd like to put on the agenda, or for
And the speaker, please.
agenda.
Here, let me just make this easy for. Got it.
He's an old man,
I haven't walked this much in a year. We have a beautification going downtown Middletown. We all know that. And we have no representative from M.A.T.H to monitor that. And let me tell you why I'm concerned. We had a trail that we wanted to use for the kids at the rodeo grounds to be able to have a rodeo there and keep horses at the casino. That was the whole idea of the trail. And for one reason or another, the county took it over, and instead of having a horse trail, we have a blacktop trail with a white line running down the middle of it, where no vehicles are allowed. Now, it doesn't make sense. So I think it would behoove us to make sure we have somebody from M.A.T.H that will take a look at the plans on the beautification of downtown. I've heard some strange stories from, where was she at? Linda. She's gone, I guess. Oh, Linda. About I didn't see. I'm sorry. About the design of the street going down the middle of Middletown, the parking and all that. And I think we ought to have some input on it. So I'd like to put that on the agenda for discussion.
how is it that I come to almost all of the meetings and I don't know about this?
Well, we had Izzy from Caltrans here, and
yeah,
he was talking about and he answered questions. And again, he will be back in June. And I believe that the downtown area is scheduled for activity in 2027. Of course, the plans are in work, but that's one of the reasons why. And I'm going to say Caltrans, Izzy, the representative from Caltrans, he contacts me, he sends me an email on a monthly basis. So just checking in, and giving me the status of what they're doing. So they really, they want, and when they came before, they want to come and get public input as well. So. And of course, it's with something, there's some things that they can do, can't do, that we may want or not want and stuff.
Well, at least we'll know.
But, exactly.
Before it happens.
Yes.
Well,
So he will be here in June.
let me add, Carl, you're only talking about 4 days a year generally when we have the rodeo. And that's when we did the road or the bicycle, whatever you want to call it now, that was basically, it was set up that it was only going to be during the Middletown days. So it seems pretty logical that, no bicycles allowed during such and such a date and such a date would cover both and make everybody happy. So the other 360 days, you have.
I'm not opposed to other people using it, but the point is,
Okay. Let's move on. So,
Linda Deal Darms again. Was it today? It might have been yesterday. There was a meeting between Caltrans, our supervisors, Mike Thompson's office, and it was regarding, I did bring a concern about downtown Middletown, and I wrote a letter to them. And Helen Owen, our District 1 supervisor, and I measured curb to curb downtown area, because in the meeting when Izzy was here, part of the proposal was to put a middle lane down from Calliomi to Young Street and have 3 lanes and keep the bicycle lanes and keep parking on both sides. And I raised my hand and I said, there's not enough room for all of that there. And they said, well, it was engineered. So we went and actually measured. We measured with a tape measure. And I also did research on minimum widths for streets when you're going through a downtown area at a certain mile per hour. And it takes 62 feet to put everything there plus a middle lane. And the widest area was 58 feet, 7 inches. So they have that information now. And my concern was, and I did say this in the letter, do not take away any more of our downtown parking. They took away the diagonal several years ago, and now if they take one side or the other to make this middle lane, our downtown's going to be just shot because it's limited as it is. So
we don't want to forget that
that's the update.
Caltrans owns from the building, not from the curb. The building
Correct.
line is their property.
And as I mentioned to you also, Linda, is that we are getting new sidewalks. So those measurements are going to change. Because they're redoing the sidewalks also, that's part of the plan.
Isn't this
And-
topic of discussion for next meeting?
Yeah.
That's why we're bringing it up.
Yeah.
So we can discuss it next meeting. Okay.
Please, because I would like to say a little more about that. Thank you.
Yeah, well, we can put it on the agenda and discuss it more. I guess my reservation is, and you guys can disagree with me, but my reservation is that we really should wait until they bring the plans so we know exactly what it is we're discussing.
They have plans.
Yes, they do have plans. Yes, they're bringing them in June. They're finalizing the plans.
No, but before they finalize them, it would be nice to see that.
Well,
Can you
they're
get them?
finalizing them for presentation. So they're planning to bring them in June. They're not starting the work right away.
You have more confidence in Caltrans than I do.
Yeah, I get it. So anyway, on the agenda for next month, or should we hold off till June?
No, let's put it on the agenda.
Well, and I also got something I want to make sure gets on the agenda also. And that is, if it doesn't get next month, you know how it rolls. is we need to find out what's going on with Caliami, because they're talking about building some type of water district or something with water way down at the trailer park, and which affects the entire creek again, and we want to know what the heck they are doing, and if they're making future plans, they need to come in here and explain it to us, because like everybody else, they need to go through us to get anything approved. So that would be something that should be easily fixed. I know there was a movement about a year ago where some of the people from Caliami says, well, we're going to install fire hydrants, way out in the middle of nowhere, and then nothing happened. So I want to know what's going on with that. And
Actually, I've spoken with Todd, and he and I are going to work up something to present something to that effect.
Okay, so we have 2 items that we're suggesting to be on the agenda.
I don't know if Todd and I could get it together in a month.
well, get it on the agenda, and then you have to do the job after. It's usually how the system works. Okay, if you say you're gonna do it and don't do it, it never gets done. Okay.
Okay, how many people, hands
do
up,
things.
how many people want to talk about Caltrans in downtown Middletown next week?
Oh, I'd love to, yeah.
Okay, next month, next month. Okay, so we got that. Okay, how many people want Caliami on next month, or should we put it on the following month? Okay, no? Okay, if we see the same hands. Okay, so those 2 items are on the agenda. We'll have 10-minute conversation on the area plan.
Chair always has the prerogative to lay something on the agenda that gets too full.
Thank you. Thank you, member. Okay, with that, I will entertain a motion.
So moved to adjourn.
Yay. Second?
Second.
All right, anybody opposed?
No.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.